Hey guys, and welcome back to MultiVersus University. My name is Bam, and of course, I'm joined by my boy Charles. And today, we're about to go over the actual open beta patch notes. For those of you who are aware, of course, they had the early access leading up to today, the 26th of July. And now we're actually getting not only the full open beta for everyone, so now everyone can go ahead and play, go ahead and check it out. And it's free to play, but of course, there's a new character going to be added as well. But enough about that because we will have a video about that a little bit later about LeBron. I mean, it's crazy to say that, but LeBron James is coming to Multiverses,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But yeah, it's nutty. But of course, we're going to go ahead and talk about what we have and kind of the changes to pre-existing characters.
yeah. Let's get right into it.
All right. So one of the big things that we're seeing already, if you're looking on the free the character rotation, now it's going to be Finn, Garnet, Superman, and Rain Dog. Right. I think it's a really good selection. I mean, these characters, all these characters are actually pretty damn good in the current build. Right. Finn is consistently been a strong character. Sometimes the best character in the game. Garnet's been strong, but tends to be underrated. Superman is a beast in this mode right now, man.
Yeah,
My man is
yeah.
moving in all other ways, man. The Kryptonian swagger, and then of course you got Rain Dog, a character that honestly can do it all. We're ranging from the support, the combo game, you setting on almost like a mage esque the traps, and really only has an issue when it comes down to really dealing with it's like the large hurt box from the character. So outside of that, they talk about the open beta warp event, the kind of the limited gold earned is going to be increased. But let's talk about the characters, man. I think that's one of the biggest things. One of the first things I see here is talking about Batman, and of course, Batman right now is really strong. We saw if you guys were able to watch the Invitational with Justice League, we actually had two Batmans in the top 8. So he's looking pretty clean, both in a doubles format and also in a 1v1. Cooldown on the battle ring was increased from 13 to 14 seconds. The pickup on the battle ring actually returned back from it how it used to be to 1.55 seconds. Now that's still, of course, that's going to be an increase, right? So it's going to be a longer cooldown coming from 11.05. So overall, the battering has just kind of been neutered there, right? You're not going to get this thing as often, which is a really big deal. And then of course, there was a bug fix that needed to happen. Sometimes if you were utilizing the grappling hook, you would just literally get yeeted off the map and just die instantly, like frame one. Like someone would break your ankles and then Batman was gone, dude, never to be seen again. So
Pretty big buff for Batman.
pretty, yeah, yeah,
That
right.
sucks.
Yeah, it sucks to suck. Yeah. So yeah, now you can't zero to death yourself. So that's pretty cool, right? But I think one of the big things here, he wasn't touched too much. I do think the battle ring is going to be a big one. But what are your thoughts, kind of, on these changes?
I don't think it's big enough to really. I think overall he just got buffed because that bug fix. I mean, you would lose, you know, points for that, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
your opponent would literally get KOs. So that bug fix is huge. And then the battering, I mean, 1 second more. 1 second is a lot in multiverses, obviously, but I think that's pretty fair. And I mean, all your because essentially with battering, you're neutral stronger, right? So you just have to
yeah.
play neutral with just without battering for a little longer, which I think is fair given how much weaken you can apply, right? And like how strong Batman is as well. I mean, just I think the character is fine. I don't think this is by any means like a huge nerf. I like I said overall, I think he just got buffed because the bug fix is so important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like bug fixes notwithstanding, I think this is kind of the right play. Uh, Neutral. The characters already were extremely fast, right? Almost like assassin class fast, right? And his hitboxes have been improved for sure too. They seem a lot better overall, at least from when we played in the early access and of course in the well, not from early access, but rather the closed alpha. So I think this is a really good thing for Batman. I love that they didn't make that many changes, which means that he's sitting in a comfortable spot for them.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing here automatically, man. So good stuff, man. Bruce Wayne, you're still moving, man. Definitely a far better character in this. as opposed to the closed alpha. So I'm really excited to see how Batman players are going to continue to just evolve, right, with the meta in this character. Next one up is Bugs Bunny, and thank goodness there's not anything except one change. But you know what? That change is one that is definitely needed. Air up attack. The startup window is increased by 2 frames. The active window is decreased by 2 frames. And the hitbox now is actually more
Thank you.
reasonable. Yes,
Thank
because
you.
that move, despite how it looked, despite it being an up air, it was definitely a omni aerial, dude. That thing would sweep all around him. Like if you blink, you miss it. I don't know what is going on. And honestly, you usually don't see characters have that kind of range for their standard attacks and that speed. Usually like, you look at Harley, right? And Harley's really dominant in the vertical position, and you're not going to be able to do chain up air upper like that as quickly. And when you have the bat, that's going to be special. So you can only utilize it twice in the air. Dude, aerials, you can just spam however you want. So
No cooldown.
Bugs, yeah, no cooldown. No cooldown on that one, man. Batter up, dude. You're in the batting cages. Like that thing is ridiculous. So I do like that fix there already. Next up, of course, is Iron Giant. The bug fixes really. So this one's an interesting one because it's a bug fix, but this is a hell of a nerf. The air down attack can no longer be comboed into itself. This was a huge one. A lot of the openers you would see from Iron Giant was the triple dare, right? Triple dare into the command grab, and then you get the extension.
Right.
The fact that you're now only getting a singular dare, that's it's huge because this course is just only one dare as opposed to three, but also means that you kind of have to start closer to the ground in order for you to get your extensions. Before, one of the things that was really good about the air dare like combo or the dare combo into itself is that you essentially would do dare 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 to get back down to the ground to eventually be able to fast fall and then get your command grab. Now you essentially have to do this at short hop height, and that's not a good place to be for Iron Giant.
Yeah, I feel like I guess it wasn't intended in terms of just like the combo game for Iron Giant. Maybe just
Mm-hmm.
an oversight because it is like listed as bug fixes rather than nerfs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is a pretty big hit. I mean, I feel like Iron Giant can be frustrating to lower level players because it punishes you for not having a very clean combo game, either on your own or your team combo game isn't that strong. Because that's how Iron Giant gets locked out at like higher levels of play. But at lower
Yeah.
levels of play, I can see why it would be frustrating to like do or like just constantly getting comboed looped by the same move. I think they made
Yeah.
it very clear, especially with how they fixed dodge canceling, overriding the same aerial lockout in the closed alpha. They actually
Yeah.
fixed that coming into this game. So before or this version in the closed alpha, you used to be able to like loop your same moves, and a lot of characters could do dare loops essentially because
Mm-hmm.
your dodge would ignore the same move lockout. So it's very obvious that the developers don't want moves comboing into itself. So I think this is a very obvious showing of that because it's also listed as bug fix. So sucks for Iron Giant, but I think after these changes, we'll see how Iron Giant players kind of fix up their combo game. Maybe they go into different routes and stuff like that, and then from there, the developers can kind of see which path they want to go with Iron Giant in terms of like buffing or nerfing, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll see what will happen from here. I do, going into another bug fix that you were kind of alluding to already is the air and ground down special, right? So that's essentially when he cannonballs down to the ground, and it no longer will repeatedly hit and lock opponents in place forever. I mean, this one is par for course. I'm sure some of you may have not even seen this in the early access, but there were a couple situations where Iron Giant essentially would not land, right? And so he would just hit you all the way down to the ground, and he would be stuck in the cannonball animation. So he would just like literally people just get stuck there and eat like 800 damage and just
Yeah.
die. Like it was
Or
ridiculous,
or their
right?
teammate comes through and is like, "Yo, boom,
Yeah, yeah,
Wiz!"
yep,
Like, see ya.
yep, and gone, deleted,
Yeah.
right? So. Of course, this one had to go. That was never going to stay. So
Right.
we expected that one for sure. But this next one too is again kind of in a similar vein of the air. air down attack, of course, or the dare. And man, the up air essentially can no longer be repeatedly hit opponents. So for those of you who are unaware, Iron Giant had a confirm essentially where he could do up air and then do the turn on the jets, man, and then take him to the
Zoom.
skies, man. Just zoom, zoom, zoom. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that that combo was cheesy, but I kind of thought it was hype. I liked it just because it's so indicative of Iron Giant, right? Like he's just
Yeah.
like, you gotta go home. I'm out of here, Superman. So I liked it, but they felt like it was way too strong, and understandably so. There's definitely some times where even myself, I had been hit at 20%, not too high, not too high near the blast zone, but because he literally just carries you there, you just die. They just hit you 20, 30, 40, and then you're dead. I've seen a triple up here like that, and it was disgusting. So it makes sense for this change to happen. I do hope they figure out something that can almost be done in the same similar vein where you can get like additional combo up air, but who
Right.
knows? I think they think it's too dangerous because of his size.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting route. And I mean, we're still seeing where the developers want to take the combo game in general for this game, right? Like, it's very clear that they don't want you looping the same moves over and over again. Even this next change to Steven Universe, air neutral attack, uh, pretty much preventing because other characters have like two move loops, and
Hmm.
like Harley is someone that has like two move loops, right? Like down air, up air, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it looks like Steven had one as well with the up air attack and the air neutral attack here. So kind of changing the angle, it looks like. Yeah, changing the angle of the knockback
Yep.
there. So you can't maybe get as much loops or can't loop at all maybe. And I know Steven's Nair is also a projectile. Is that still the case, right? For
Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Correct.
So you can proc ignite and stuff like that. It gets very dangerous when you're looping two moves and you can apply things like ignite and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think a reasonable change to Steven, and it's cool to see all these changes because we're kind of seeing where the developers want to take certain aspects of the game, like the combo game, mainly is what we're
Yeah.
seeing here. Bugs up here was just ridiculous, so like that was just like a straight up nerf. But these other nerfs, it's just cool to see where the developers want to see the combo game and other aspects of the game.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I really do like that they've even in some of these changes they've kind of explicitly stated like this is why we made this change, right?
Right.
Seeing that like okay, this is preventing an infinite attack, right? That was happening.
Mm-hmm.
You usually don't see that all too often. They kind of just say, "Oh, this has changed," and you may or may not know like why this exactly changed or what they're looking at. I think for them to really explain the why really helps navigate these things because if there's a certain situation where like oh we're doing this and this is why right then you can be like okay but that why is not strong enough right and people
Right.
can kind of have a discussion on that but it's really good to kind of for them to really illustrate their vision to your point and you see that all throughout these patch notes. Of course next up we do have Taz. They got a fix that um, essentially Taz, once he reached his aerial special limit, there were times where he couldn't do any aerials, right?
Mm.
And he like so he would just be floating there and you just have to hold that, which was stupid. So I'm glad that that got fixed because Taz does have some good aerials. You don't see them all too often from especially on the lower levels of play. For the next thing we're going to get into, but he does have some good aerials. So
Yeah.
hopefully those things find their mark and they're actually utilized.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the move that everyone talks about for Taz. I obviously it's got to be an iconic move, right? So
Yeah,
in terms of the initial direction with the character, I don't really blame them for front loading this move. But I love that they even the way they explain it. It's like it's a pretty obvious like not obvious knowledge check for newer players is like quote unquote on the notes here. So yeah, I mean, kind of nerfing that down. Uh, I I would like to see. I guess they're reducing the knockback, decrease the tornado's duration, and the additional duration gained by passing an ally, removing one of the multi hits of the tornado, decreasing the hit pause. Wow, man, they're hitting this move really hard.
Hmm.
So I'm very interested in what they're going to compensate for it. Um, but yeah, I maybe they'll have to hit here and then see where Taz players go from here, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I'll tell you right now, I've seen some Taz players who do they at the higher level who do utilize they use Nair, right? Nair is a
Right.
really strong tool that gets overshadowed for like lower level players, but top level players, that's kind of the move they use, right? For top level Tazes. Of course, utilizing that dog pile, still in corner situations to take those stocks, using the tasty debuffs, using the apple core. He's got a splendid combo game. He's also got insane aerial acceleration too that allows you to kind of almost for those who are familiar with Smash, the Wario, right? Like you have that ability to weave in and out on reaction. So that's a
Right.
really strong tool. So I'm excited to see Taz's work on that. A little sad that they're decreasing some of the hit pause. So that means this move's not going to be as good as a opener for team combos to get
Right.
additional damage. To me, that's one of the things that I really liked about the move. And you know if they do, of course they're going to be nerfing this move. I do hope they retain enough of that. So it is a move where it's like, if I land this, my teammate can come in and get a ton of damage too. I think that's pretty fair, as long as it's not killing at obscene percents, because that's where you get in a problem where I cover one option, you dodge in. Oh, wait, you can't dodge against this move because it's going to last long enough and it's going to hit you anyways, right? I can drift back on reaction to what you're doing and hit you anyways. And that's where you get the robbery, right? Because people just get tossed on that trajectory, the knockback, and either you're outright dead or there's no way you're making it back. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
And they even say in the other description and like the reasoning behind it. So amazing patch notes coming out from the MultiVersus team. They said expect to see some buffs to his other moves in his kit, but they just have to evaluate his the gameplay health for Taz. I think another thing they could have possibly done. I know this is kind of getting into like more coding like difficulties and more work, but I would have liked to seen maybe you could have kept Taz's NATO the same, but make it so it's more punishing on decay. So it's like, okay, this move is still crazy, but when this move gets decayed, it's like more punishing of a decay than other moves because of how powerful it is. So you have to learn how to use other moves to undecay it, right? Because I've
Hmm.
seen Taz's like it's the NATO's decayed and it just doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, the nerf to the base knockback is going to do like it's going to make the decay even worse because the base knockback isn't as high,
Right.
right? So
Absolutely.
they're already kind of doing that, but I don't know how hard it is to essentially code decay being specific for certain moves or whatnot. I have
Right.
never made a game or anything like that, so I don't know how hard that is. But maybe that's a direction they could have taken, just so it's like, oh, okay, this move is still ridiculous, but you have to make sure it's not decayed because it's like total trash if it's decayed, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. So like it's so I think the big thing here for this is like you said, what is going to happen here? What are the Taz players going to be able to do and kind of how are they going to evolve? I know some of these guys is I do believe on the top end they'll be okay. I'm happy because I'm happy this is really done now because Evo is going to be a very big showcase for this game. And I'm gonna tell you out like it is, man.
No
If you go to
degeneracy allowed.
Evo, yeah, if you go to Evo and you just get robbed by Taz's daily, oh man, that it's a one thing to do it in the comfort of your own home. It is complete another thing to fly out, stay in Vegas, and just get bodied by
Get
someone
nated.
mashing their face against a controller. You do
Yeah.
not want that. That's a rough one. So I do like this. I do like these changes here for this. I think that this character is. I actually really like the character in the toolkit, but unfortunately, when you have those kind of moves, especially in a game when you are looking at defense is about movement, right? And defense is about timing your dodges. When you have a move that can eat through dodges, right? When you have a move that can be strong, it's active hitbox and it's mobile, it's it's really easy to get really like to destroy people very very quickly, and you have to be able to take care of that because that's going to really kill that's going to kill a lot of people's hope and excitement for the game on a
Right.
casual level, and some of those people like they're not going to be able to stick around long enough. So I do
Yeah.
think this was a well done by them. This needed to occur.
Something
I
definitely
do,
needed to happen with that move.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, 100%. So we'll see how it happens, man. I know some of my Taz player boys are sad, but I have a feeling, even just looking at these things, that the move will still be good enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I think Taz will still fulfill his roles, like what he's supposed to do in
yeah,
doubles, right? So I don't think the character is neutered by any means, and we'll see. I think Taz can still fulfill his role. It just won't be as like grotesque as it used to be, which is fine, which is completely
yeah,
fine.
that's true.
Especially when some of these other characters are getting nerfed. I think in terms of overall, mainly nerfs coming through in this patch, and just to like
Hmm.
round things off here, Velma getting a pretty big hit on weight, which I completely 100% agree. And even here, it was an oversight on our part that Velma is one of the heaviest characters in the game. This change should bring her more in line with where we originally envisioned her. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see Rain Dog being a little heavier. He is a bigger target, but Velma, oh man. I mean, Velma is extremely heavy. I mean, not the best recovery, but I mean, just having that much weight helps your recovery a lot because you just don't get hit that far. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
And in terms of like on stage presence, she has a full screen projectile. You know what I mean? Like, just one of the better supports slash like mage characters in the game. You just put out so much pressure,
Yep.
and your all your weakening and all that stuff. Like, it the amount of space control is such a big deal in doubles, and this game is balanced around doubles. So I mean, just the Velma just felt like she had almost everything, and the weight was a big part of it. You know, her survivability was amazing, and she just had a bunch
Yes.
of other stuff on top of that. So, big agree on this tone down on the weight here, and we can see where Velma goes. I still think Velma will be very relevant. I think any character that controls as much space as Velma does, you would have to undertune her pretty hard to make her not relevant.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, so she's going to share a weight class with Taz at this point now. Um, for those of you who are unaware, she, like they said, she was one of the heaviest characters in the game. Uh, she was fifth. She was right behind Shaggy. It goes Iron Giant, Superman, Garnet, Shaggy, and then the previous patch, Velma, right?
Right.
And now she'll be behind a couple more characters. But yeah, I agree. I think this is a really good one. One of the big things for Velma is her recovery is pretty lacking for the most part. But again, if you're heavy, you can like DI up, kind of try to come from the top. Velma has insane vertical hitboxes. Her up air and dare are absolutely asinine. So
Yeah.
when she's able to like kind of DI up and then just like, oh, I'm trying to cover from the top, and you have to respect her, right? You
Hmm.
have to respect her going in, especially once she's back on stage. The fast falls down, the dares, all those kind of things. Those hitboxes are just really, really powerful. And she is by far I would say, the strongest support that we've seen in the game outside of Rain Dog, just in terms of what we've been seeing right now in the current early meta.
Right.
Essentially, we've seen Velma's a lot more often, and then we've seen a Rain Dog here and there. But Velma, just the debuffs that she gives, the buffs, the healing, like you said, the long range that she does,
Full screen,
and
baby.
yeah, full screen, right? So it's like when you have that character and they're living for that long, it's hard because the idea should be is that you have to cut down the support so that they're not able to get the buffs and debuffs on the bruiser or the tank or the assassin, whoever it may be. So then you can engage with them. Otherwise, this you just have a super being just flying around all day, and then you're just getting shot by words. And it's like, I'm tired of hearing you talk, Velma. Can't let that happen all too often, right? So I think this is a good selection. I love her toolkit. I love the character design. She definitely needed to be lighter, so she has that kind of clear cut weakness
Right.
to up push on her as a support.
Yeah, absolutely. And LeBron around the corner as well. So super excited to dive into that character. But that's pretty much it for us. Let us know in the comments what you think about the buffs and the nerfs, or mainly nerfs. But yeah, let us know what you think about the changes. If you agree with them, if you don't agree with them, and of course, if you guys enjoyed the content, make sure to like, subscribe as well. And until next time, class dismissed.